Welcome to Straight from the Muzzle, folks, where we are anything but straight. My name is Space.
And I'm Dear.
And we welcome you to our episode, which is about what today?
Today,
Good Lord.
Nice.
Good start. My voice cracked when I said I'm Dear, and then that was all I could think about. Oh no,
Man,
I'm sorry.
I swear that being sick has messed your brain.
Oh god, I think so.
Yeah, don't worry, we'll put a bit of WD-40 on that rust. You'll be fine.
God, I got my jab like 2 days ago.
Yay, you're
one.
protected.
I am. In 2 weeks, I will be. I was dying yesterday.
Well, I'll go ahead and I'll fill this in. So today's episode is a special guest interview of Fatty Dragonite, and we're going to be talking about animation in the fandom. So welcome, Fatty. Or do you want us to call you? Do you want us to call you Luke? Do you want us to call you Fatty Dragonite?
Whichever. I'll just introduce myself. Don't worry about it. Go what you want.
All right, cool. So why don't you go ahead and tell us a little bit about yourself, who you are, where you're from, your persona, what you do in the fandom, all the shebang.
All right, I'm going to tell you guys my whole life story. Here it comes.
Right on.
My name is Luke. I'm a Dragonite from the Netherlands. I'm a graphic design major, and I draw things using a plastic slab and then make them move through the power of illusion.
Nice.
Hell yeah.
And you're from where again?
I'm from the Netherlands.
The Netherlands.
I was going to say the land down under, but that term's already taken, unfortunately.
What part of the Netherlands?
From North Holland. So that little nub, right at the top left.
Nice.
Yeah. It's windy.
So you're an animator. Is that what you do? You do things on a slab of sorts, a digital slab?
Well, yeah, that's pretty much what it is. I like to think I'm an animator, but these days I just try to wing it.
Yeah, right.
Was that a pun?
Wing it?
Was that a dragon pun?
Could be.
Sorry.
Could be. I mean, my wings are small, so.
Ooh, oh.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, I don't know, how would you even fly with your wingspan?
Well,
I've seen your character.
It's just like the old Tootsie Pop mystery. The world may never know.
Oh my god, yeah. So, how did you come up with your persona, just in general?
I think when we were 10 years old, our favorite pastime was waking up at 6 a.m. and playing the DS until school time, right? And that's what I did. And I was a huge fan of Pokemon, still am. And my favorite Pokemon was Dragonite.
Oh.
Because I remember even before that, my favorite character ever was Yoshi. You know, and how could you not love Yoshi? He looks like a Toys R Us mascot with a big snoot. You just want to hug him right when you see him. And Dragonite sort of reminded me of him because, you know, it's got the same large snout and the friendly disposition, and it's got a little bit of junk in the trunk, you know?
Oh my god.
So I ended up falling in love with Dragonite. And that's how it all started.
And the name itself, though, I'm curious about the name Fatty Dragonite. Why did you choose that name?
Well, sometimes
pressure.
The best names are the ones that come up first.
All right, I won't delve into that one then. All right, well, I was going to ask you about two truths and a lie, but I won't go into that. So we'll go into, let's see, Dear, it's your next.
Yeah. Okay. So, what inspired you to get into animation?
It would have to be stories in general, and that extends to games, movies, and even just chit-chatting with a good friend. And I feel like it's the most powerful way to connect with somebody, you know, emotionally. And if you want an audience to really feel something, a story is the best way to do that. Whether or not you're a film director or you're a history teacher that is really passionate about their job and wants to make their students learn something, the best way to do it usually is through a story. That makes it memorable and it makes it last. Do you know that feeling when you go to the movies and you watch a really, really good flick and the movie's over, you see the credits rolling and the movie's still in your head, you know, and as you get up from your seat, you know, your knees are all wobbly and your foot is crunching on some leftover popcorn, right? And all you can think about is just the amazingness that you just watched. You know, I like to call that a movie high. I'm not sure if there's a term for that.
No, that's definitely a thing.
when you walk out of the theater, it's kind of like you're floating and the outside's all dark because you just spent 5 minutes on your ass or like 3 hours on your butt, and my goal is to give others that same movie high feeling as well, maybe minus the popcorn thing.
So going with storytelling, there is a really good storyteller specifically in animation, and he is just world-renowned, Hayao Miyazaki, who does just the most beautiful pieces of work. And it's not just the animation, it's the artwork, it's the music, it's the storytelling. And it makes you feel like you're actually there, but it also makes it connect with the individual itself. And I often wonder if animators ever take inspiration from that, or if you ever took inspiration from that.
I think that's probably not even a question. I feel like Miyazaki is an absolute legend when it comes to animation. Just the creative brilliance that oozes out of his work is still unmatched to this day. And he's definitely one of my biggest inspirations. When it comes to a singular work, though, or singular movie, it would have to be The Red Turtle. And that's maybe a movie that you guys haven't heard of, but it's actually, it was made by a Dutch filmmaker. And that's somebody that sort of inspired me to do what I do today. And he worked together with Studio Ghibli and Hayao Miyazaki to make a full-length movie. I think it was 90 minutes long, and he completely did it on his own with, of course, the help of Studio Ghibli's directing team and all that. And that sort of made me think, if he can do it, I can do it too. And he's like 61 years old, and I'm still 22. So I'm thinking, yeah, still got like 39 years left to do it. So when it comes to Ghibli and Hayao Miyazaki, I think he definitely created this sonic boom of inspiration across the whole world. And I, as an animator, I got a bit of a spark from that as well.
Okay, because now I'm gonna make you blush intentionally here.
Oh my god!
So in some of your animations, you do somehow channel Miyazaki into it. So when you're listening to the music, when I'm listening to music and I'm watching like backgrounds, like I'm watching like the background of like the actual animation versus the animation itself, and I'm hearing sounds and I'm hearing the music, I don't necessarily need to hear like dialogue, but I can just feel the same feeling that I get from Hayao Miyazaki does. Really? And I get that from your animations too, but I don't get that from a lot of other animators. And I find that to be very unique, and I find that to be like a passion. And it's something that I think sets specific animators apart from others, where others there are really talented people out there that can animate, but there are others out there that can actually bring it to life. And I think you can bring it to life, much like how Hayao Miyazaki could bring it to life, whereas others can just make it look good, and that's about it.
Well, you're right. I'm as red as a tomato.
Yeah, there you go. Sorry.
That's probably one of the nicest things anybody has ever said about the things that I do. So from the bottom of my heart, thank you so much.
You're absolutely
I'm honestly
welcome.
Not sure what to say to that. On some degree, every filmmaker is different. I just really love doing this. And, I hope that I never lose that spark and that ability to make people feel things, because I feel like that's why I'm on this planet right now. But seriously, thank you so much.
You're absolutely welcome. Felix and I, we were talking before the recording, but Felix and I, we subscribe to your YouTube channel, and you're the one and only channel that I never get rid of because I like add and remove like YouTube channels like nobody's business, just because I get bored really easily. But there's one channel I never remove, and that's yours, because yours always has like really beautiful work. And I never want to remove it, because it's like I can always go back to it if I'm having a good day, or if I need something, or if I'm just feeling like relaxed. I don't know. There's just always something special. You have something special.
Thank you.
Never let it go. So anyways.
Are you going to buy me dinner now? I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
Sure.
Thank you so much. Honestly, that means so much. Sometimes I get worried when I read a few comments every now and then, and it's like, hey, where have you been? Or maybe it's a comment on Vending Machine a while back that I read, and it said, has it really been 2 years? And that sort of made me think, like, yeah, I really haven't posted anything in a while, in over a year. Now, I am working on something new, and we'll talk about that later.
Right. When you were first starting out, did you ever experiment with different types of animating? Because I know there's like tons of different animation. There's like stop motion animation, claymation, there's flip book animations, which those are really fun to play with as well. Yeah. Those take time. And if so, what were they? How many did you experiment with?
I think the first thing that I ever did that's related to animation would be a Lego stop motion video. And when I was very young, I used to be the biggest fan of Lego power miners, all right? I would be over the moon for power miners, all right? I would save up my money and then I would run to the store when I had enough and I would buy one of these sets. And I'm thinking, what's the most fun that I could get out of this play set? And then I thought to myself, because I bought one of those little miner carts thingies. I'm not sure what it's called anymore, but I'm going to get my camera that I got for my birthday earlier, and I'm going to make a stop motion video of two little Lego guys actually building this miner cart thing, like taking it out of the box and then just building it, getting all the bricks out of the plastic pouches. And I remember showing it at school and it blew the teacher's mind. And he was like, holy, like you did this? Like, oh my God, I'm never going to forget that. Like, because I thought that this was just a thing that people would do, like as a hobby.
Yeah.
And I remember it being on a translucent green USB stick. And unfortunately, I can never find it again. No matter how much I scour my cabinets, I just can't find it again. Maybe one day, but until then, but that's the first thing I ever did relating to animation. It was so much fun, just working on it day by day and just slowly getting that ball rolling and eventually just enjoying the fruits of your labor. And that's the first thing that I ever did with animation.
What was the next one? You got to list them all out, bro.
I got to list them all, huh? Well, let me get my dossier with all the things that I did.
We want to know.
An extensive
I think the second thing would be in high school, when I started off, I loved to do these little flip book animations. I bought a bunch of these tiny little flip books that were perfect for animation, and I would do these stick fights, because I think we all have a phase where we're really into these stick battles, right?
I mean, they're still relevant. Who doesn't love a stick fight? Those are amazing.
Yeah, I've seen one lately. I think that was like Combat Gods or something. It was insane, man. It was awesome.
I love them.
But I started off with that because it's simple. You don't really need much art skill to do that. And I made a few of those. And then later on, when I really started drawing furry stuff, there was a point where I'm like, hey, let's try animating something. And I started off with something simple. It was just a Charmander on a treadmill, a little walk cycle, and it's simple. And it was 8 frames long, and I'm never going to forget how I felt when I finished it. Because all of a sudden, all those daydreams that I had back in high school, like when you're not paying attention, right? I could make those a reality all of a sudden. Like I had the power in my hands. And I felt like I owed it to myself to do it. And that's sort of how I slowly built it up.
So we got flip books.
Oh, yeah. Those are fun.
Can I also quickly ask what programs you use now?
I use Toon Boom Harmony now.
Oh, nice.
It's a really simple program. It's unfortunately quite expensive, but there's ways to get around that. Please don't sue me. But
wink, wink.
Yeah. Please don't sue me. But
for legal reasons, this is not a recommendation.
Also, if you really want to become an animator, please do not DM me for information about that.
I can tell you where to get stuff. But you have to DM me for it.
FBI, open up.
Exactly. In a nutshell. No! In a nutshell, the prices offered are mainly for huge studios and not really for consumers. So I'm thinking, hey, there could be some moral leeway here, but again, it's a gray area. Do it at your own risk, but it's up to you. But I use Toon Boom Harmony, and I made my earlier animations with Paint Tool Sai, actually, which is not an animation program. Nope. So what I used to do is I would have every single frame on a different layer, and then I would export it one by one, and then just put it together in a GIF program. And that's how I would used to do it.
Like the old
exactly.
Microsoft Paint animations.
Exactly. It was not efficient at all, but...
Holy Hannah, this thing is expensive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Even the Essentials version, because I just use that.
Geez, the Essentials. Okay, just for an American, it is $205, and then for Advanced is $490, and for Premium, which I wouldn't even touch, is like $935.
Yeah.
Good Lord.
But with Premium, you're not really getting a lot of extra things mainly.
No, you're getting what are you getting?
I don't know. The only thing that you're getting is being able to add 3D models into things like that. It's really not worth the cash to me. And again, it's for huge studios. It's kind of a shame they don't have, I don't know, it's just way too expensive. Way too expensive.
But, they got like a fox guy running. They got like a fox head man running thing. I'll take a picture of this and send it to your dog so she can see this. It's really interesting. I don't know how to explain it. It could be like an otter, beaver head, maybe a fox head, monkey
there it
head.
is.
Hey, let me
man
go to the website.
running.
I want to see this.
Like
I don't know. It's where you could go to like.
Oh yeah, it's like an alpaca. I think it's
there you
alpaca.
go. An alpaca. Yeah. Thank you.
Just a little guy.
Yeah.
It's an alpaca man because it's just the head because the rest of it is just like a man body.
Yeah. Man, he looks more stiff than an office door.
And then you got like a Whoville, opera singer thingy chick fillet.
It ain't over till the fat lady sings.
And then you got these like, if you scroll up, then you got like these cigarette looking men. And their knobby looking heads. That's just weird.
It's a great program.
Yeah, it looks like it could be good. If you animate, I do not animate, so I wouldn't even know where to start.
Space Roast, Toon Boom.
Of course, there's many different programs to choose from. There's also TV Paint, and it all depends on personal preference.
I think Felix uses a program. I'm not sure what he uses, though. He has last year he bought a big old drawing tablet, and the thing is giant. It's like drawing one, but it acts like a giant monitor. It's a Huion or something.
It's like a placemat.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yep.
And then like he also like bought like an animator program, and he's just animating with it. And I'm like, when did you learn to animate? And he's like, I don't know. It kind of works. And I'm like, what? How?
And kudos to them. I mean, it takes a lot of energy to try something new.
I want to learn to do it that quick. Jeez. There are things that I can do, but animating is not one of those things.
No.
Hey, you'd be surprised.
I don't have the patience, is what I've learned.
I've done like stop motion. I've done a little bit of animation just through like pictures and stuff. And I did one that was like 300 separate pictures.
Oof.
And it lasted 10 seconds. And I was just like,
how high was your frames per second?
What? It was pretty high. It was fluid movement. That was the thing. And I'm like, like it took me like a month to do it. I'm like, I am never doing this again.
300 frames.
All it was it was just a ball falling down one step. That's what it was.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But I wanted to see if I could do it. But it was a black screen and it was a blue stair and there was like this green ball that bounced from one step to the next. And
he's getting flashbacks.
And I was just like, I'm never doing this again. This took so long.
You drew 300 different frames of a ball going down a stair.
Yeah.
That's so much.
I know. Well, that was a long time ago. So I just kind of like, I really wanted to have I know there's better ways to do it now, obviously. But I didn't have animation programs back then. I had Photoshop Elements. That's what I had to work with. And then I had Movie Maker. That was it. Windows Movie Maker. So I had to like work with what I had, Hey,
well, if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Exactly. And that's why it took so long.
But I do admire your patience.
Yeah, thanks. Oh, dear.
Oh, yes. Hello.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Hi.
Hi. All right. So back to what we were doing. So have your projects always revolved around the furry fandom, or have you done or taken part in any projects that were non-furry related? And if so, any favorites?
Well, they've always sort of revolved around anthro characters and the like. And I suppose that there's just already so many short films with just regular people in it. And I just thought, hey, it's up to me to add some spice to things, to spice things up a little bit. And my only regret is that up until now, I've never actually utilized the fact that they are animals, in a clever joke, for example. And I hope to capitalize more on that in my next project. Because there's a lot of fun things you can do with that. I mean, you've watched Zootopia.
Oh, yeah. So, do you have any animations that have never made it onto your YouTube channel?
Right. Yeah. Sometimes I do animation commissions to help with some income, and that's usually on a much smaller scale. So the animations are usually never quite as long. I'm thinking usually 10 to 20 seconds, and I feel like that's way too small to put on YouTube. But I do usually post them to Twitter or FA, so people can still see them.
Oh, good. I'll have to go look on your FA then and see what you have up there.
Well, it is niche. You know what I mean?
I like niche. Niche is good.
Go for it.
Out of the ones you have posted, either on Twitter for Affinity and on YouTube, which ones are your favorite, if you had to choose? I know as an animator, this might be difficult because we are asking you to choose one or two of your favorites, and most people will say, I don't have one, and that's their way of saying I can't choose. But if you had to choose
a favorite animation, it would probably have to be Vending Machine. And that's mainly because it was my first big short film.
Yeah.
And I've always wanted to see one of my own creations on the big screen. And I remember when I finished it back in January of 2019 that I submitted it to as many film festivals as I could. And the first rejection letter always hurts the most, but I will never forget the morning where I wake up, I go through my routine, and I find an email in my inbox from the International Film Festival in Middelburg. And that's a cozy little city in the southwest of the Netherlands. And it was the first time a film festival message didn't start with, unfortunately, right? Or, dear Luke, unfortunately, right?
Right.
Instead, it said my film Vending Machine was selected to be screened at that film festival. And I was invited. I was going to see my own film on the big screen. I just couldn't believe it. I remember dancing around in my room. It was awesome. And I got like a laurel that I could show off. It was awesome.
That is
so on
amazing.
April 4th, cool. I still remember the exact date, April 4th of 2019. I traveled 3 hours on a train with my brother to go attend this film festival. And I'm so glad that the whole theater was dark because I bawled my eyes out. It did win any awards, but I still felt like a winner. And I feel like that's what it's all about. So that's why Vending Machine holds a special place in my heart. And I do hope that when things open up again, that I'll be able to go to more film festivals if one of my films gets selected again.
I think that would be... I don't think you would need to win an award, honestly, just to see your own artwork up on something that's much bigger like that. I think that in itself is a reward.
It's indescribable. It was awesome.
Yeah.
I couldn't believe it. I still kind of don't. It feels like you've completed the main quest of your life, right?
And it's so interesting, too, that you pick Vending Machine because I find that to be a lot of people's favorites. It's my favorite. It's the one that I always reference to, especially the one where I feel like it channels the most Hayao Miyazaki, feeling and essence from. It's just so like, I don't know. It just draws you in, and I just feel so, I don't know what the word is. I just feel so like
mesmerized.
I guess mesmerized, but I feel like I'm there and I feel like it just connects. I feel like it's just every person who watches that particular video or that animation has something to gain or somehow connects to it in their own special way. And it doesn't necessarily have to be something specific in the video. They just feel something special about it, which is unique.
Oh, man.
And I think that might be something that is probably why they like it the most. I don't know. You've created something, okay? Like something magical. I don't know if you put like a spell on it or whatever. Whatever. Put a hex. I don't know. You did something with it.
I really don't know what it is. I really don't know. Like I've been trying to replicate it in other short films. But again, like they can't all be winners, of course. But I don't know what I did with Vending Machine. Maybe it's the passion.
I think
I really don't know what it is.
With it, something like that, I think it's important to also remember is that you don't necessarily want to replicate something.
Right.
Because because something like that is so original. Why replicate it when you can create something that could also be something completely original again?
Exactly.
And create another original piece. That's something a little bit more fun, and then you can create something different.
And that's what I hope to do with my newer project. Yes. I'm having a great time with it. I'm feeling really good about it. And the truth is, in the end, even if I post something and it gets no attention at all, I still made it for myself. And that's honestly what it's all about. And I can see myself doing this until I'm very old. And that's something not a lot of people can say. So I'm very grateful that I have this privilege to say something like that.
So our last question before we get into your current stuff, I wanted to know if you've participated in any, and I'm going to clarify this real quick for our audience so you guys do not get confused. We're going to reference the abbreviation MAP as multi-animator project, not as something else.
The other one.
Not the other one.
No.
So we want to know if you've ever participated in any multi-animator projects with other animators inside or outside the fandom. And if so, can you tell us about it?
I've done it once. And how the process went sort of shaped how I think about them right now. And I've seen a lot of multi-animated projects in the past. I think it's a great way for beginning animators to work together and make something big, something like it's a strength in numbers kind of thing. But I think it's very challenging to really tell a story with one, like a 3-minute map about warrior cats singing to a groovy pop song and dancing and fighting and all that. It looks really cool. And the hard work that's put in this by all these animators really shines through. But I don't find myself feeling anything. And that's probably just a personal thing. And I have taken part in what could be classified as a map once, and it was the Moomin Reanimated project.
Sorry, I just got excited.
It's a lot of people know about it, and it's where a lot of animators work together to recreate a whole episode of a cartoon show. And the thing is, it still has not been completed. Mm-hmm. And I finished my part for this on, get this, June 2019.
Wow.
It still hasn't been finished. Now, it's long, but it's understandable as well, as managing a project for a whole 20-minute episode with undoubtedly hundreds of different animators is a monumental task. And since it's not really done by a studio, more like it's a non-profit thing for fun, it kind of makes sense why it would take that long. And while I do hope that it will ever be finished, unless it's a project that you really work on in a studio where you know that there's a clear pipeline between start and finished, I'm a bit more biased towards solo work, where you hold all the cards and it's really your responsibility whether or not it gets finished. Or maybe I'm just a control freak. But I did have a lot of fun with the Moomin Reanimated thing, and I really hope that it will get finished.
With shorter maps that are like 3 minutes long, and like what was the one that you were mentioning? The first one,
the Reanimated thing?
No, the other one. Yeah. Well, before the Moomin one,
like the warrior cats.
Cats. Yeah.
Like I feel like pretty much all maps are just warrior cats.
Yeah.
How many animators were involved in that? Do you know?
Well, I do remember that. I think one fragment was, 3 to 5 seconds. So doing the math, I think that's like 30 to 50 animators. So it's quite a bunch.
How can you really put much into that then? I mean, I get it. Like you're saying, it's a good way to get beginners out there. But then on the other hand, you can't really put much passion or story into it. I mean, because you're not really putting your heart into it. You're just kind of putting a movement. That's about it.
Well, you'd be surprised. It depends on, of course, the kind of frame you get. If you get one that doesn't have a lot of movement, then you're going to really need to be creative if you want to make it look special.
Yeah.
But I think it's easier for, again, beginning animators to start with smaller projects like what I did, and then slowly move up and then do bigger and bigger projects, and then hopefully make short films, which I feel like is the most powerful thing you can do with animation.
Yeah.
But that's just me.
I always thought the 3 to 5 seconds, and I'm like, man, that is a tight window. But then again, if it were 10 to 20 seconds, that's too big of a window. It's either too small or too big of a window. It's not in between.
Then again, you spent a month on 10 seconds with the ball thing.
That's true. That's true.
No offense.
True. Well, let's talk about some of your current work here. Dear, do you want to take this next one?
Yeah. So when it comes to creating short animations such as vending machine overalls, what does it take to put it all together from start to finish? And are you doing it all by yourself, or do you have any help from outside sources?
When it comes to creating the short film itself, I usually starts with a long daydream. I think we've all been there when you're not paying attention at work or you're in class and you think of epic battles in your head or a really sweet story and you want to bring that to fruition. And that's usually how it starts. And if your boss didn't catch you at that step, then the next step would be to write a script for it. And you can see a script as a written storyboard. I think we're all prone to forgetting things, so it's great to have all your ideas in one basket. And then after that comes the actual drawn storyboard, which is in charge of telling the actual story. And I like to send it over to test viewers to see if they can actually understand the story through the storyboards alone. And the most fun part comes after that, which some could argue is the most hellish part, and that's animation. And I start off with keyframes first, which have all the key poses and the expressions that the character will switch through in a given scene. And after which I add the in-betweens, which is basically the frames in charge of making it look nice and smooth. And aside, because I'm not able to compose music. I have a lot of incredibly talented people to help me out with that. So I don't do the music myself, and I've had help with some of the background paintings in the past. But the rest I try to do myself.
With that being said, when creating your animations, do you have any animations that you're currently in the works of right now?
Oh yeah. That's a big question. Because on one hand, I'm thinking, don't reveal too much, Luke. You got to keep it secret. You got to keep it under
you don't have to tell us everything. Obviously,
under lock and key, right?
You got to give us just a little bit to get us excited.
But exactly. It's like that fight between the part of me that wants to keep it a secret for my own long-term benefit and the part of me that's just really excited about what I got going on.
Yeah.
Because I think it's really going to be great. I have a new project in the works. It's called Horns, and I've been working on it since June. And I took a bit of a hiatus from making short films, and now I'm getting right back into it. I'm feeling great about it. It's a story about an antelope who remembers why he became a trucker. Get it? Trucks, horns, antelopes.
That's really
funny.
Yeah.
That's great.
That's the only thing I'm going to reveal. That horrible pun and...
Amazing.
But I hope to finish the whole thing this fall, if all goes well.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I love that you made that like a it's not a pun, but it's ironic.
Yeah. It's fun. Like I feel like a lot of Pixar movies have that. Like it sort of makes you think.
That's great.
Kind of like Ratatouille.
Oh. I didn't even think about that.
You didn't think about that? Wait.
No.
What? Space.
Oh my God.
No. There's a lot of things that I don't typically think about until like the last second. Anyways, I'm getting so sidetracked. I'm so sorry. On average, how long does it take to publish one of your animations from start to finish?
Ooh. Well, with Vending Machine, I did it over the span of 15 months. And that
15
was,
or 50?
Yeah, 15 months. 15.
15.
Not
okay.
50.
Okay, good.
I'm not that old.
I was going to say,
15.
wow.
Yeah. And I did that while I was a full-time graphic design student. So I would get home, I would spend a couple hours on the film after dinner, and then I would go to bed.
Wow.
And looking back, I have no idea how I did that because I'm nowhere near as productive. But on average, I would say a 3-minute short film for me can take up to 3 or 6 months. But for everybody, it's different. And I would like to reiterate that efficiency is the least important thing when you start making animations, because that always comes last. You got to experiment with just your style and your way of storytelling first. And I think it's easy to fall into that trap of thinking like, I got to do it fast.
Because you don't want to do it sloppy. You want to be able to do it.
Yeah, exactly.
You want quality over quantity.
Exactly, that too. Like slow and steady wins the race.
Exactly.
It's the old quote.
Oh, I feel like we've already asked that question already.
So.
How did I already repeat that question?
I think you asked it
in
earlier,
4.
like with question. Yeah, I think you did just straight up ask it earlier. I'm going to be honest.
What? That's great. Okay.
Well, it's good if it sort of just flows out, naturally. It's the way it's supposed to be.
Okay, well, you know what? I'm going to flip it around. Out of all the animations you have done, are there anyone that you didn't like?
Oh,
I didn't like.
Spicy.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, that is spicy.
Yeah, there you go.
Jalapeno pepper.
I just flipped it upside down, and
that's a really good question.
Burnt. Oh.
Oh man.
I just burnt the eggs and you have to eat them.
I really don't think I can answer that, honestly, because I feel like I like every single one I've done. At the start of March of this year, I was working on a collaborative project with a friend, and we were going to make a big short film, a really long one. But unfortunately, because I worked on that for 3 months, but it didn't come to fruition. Like, eventually we had to scrap it because the other party was feeling stressed. And the thing is, you can't really do anything about that. And of course, that was stressful. But in the end, I still learned things from doing that process. So I still take that with me when I work on my next project. But even then, I still like doing that. So, and even that doesn't really count as an animation I didn't like.
So I guess, yeah, you like everything that you do.
I think in an alternate universe where Raid Shadow Legends sent me an email and said, hey, you want to make an animation for us? It would be that one.
Wow.
Yeah, you know what? Valid.
Yeah.
Well, that's a good thing then. I like that answer.
Mm-hmm. It's a good question, too. I appreciate you asking that.
Oh, yeah. All right. Well, then, if you could give one unique piece of advice to an aspiring animator, what would you say?
Ooh, nice. Now I get to be a life guru.
Yes. If you have more than one, you can obviously give more than one, but...
Well, actually, like I mentioned Ratatouille, but I'm actually reminded of a quote in that movie. And it's actually a movie that partly inspired Vending Machine. I hope you guys noticed that. And it's at the end of the movie after the critic has tasted the Ratatouille. Like, I hope you guys have seen the movie. And he's writing his review. And he says the following. Not everybody can become a great artist, but a great artist can come from anywhere. And if there's one good thing about living in the modern era, it's the fact that you have all the information you need at your fingertips. You know, back in the day, if you wanted to become an animator, you would have to go to art school, right? You would have to get a light table. You would have to get all this expensive equipment. But now, again, all you need is a plastic slab and a heinously expensive animation program that you may or not be able to get for free through certain unethical means, right?
Right.
And I think now that you do have all that information and the programs you need right at your fingertips, the power is inside you. You know, it's going to be a grueling ride filled with lots of falling down, you know, getting back up, licking your wounds. But no matter where you come from or what you do or how old you are, we all have our own stories and we deserve to tell them. Boom.
There you go. That's good. All right, dearie, you get to close us out with that last bit.
Yes. So would you like to share where people can find / follow you and advertise any projects?
I like how you say / follow you.
Sorry, I just
who says it like that?
Wow.
Yes, I get to plug all my social media.
She can't even say cloisters right.
No.
Don't give her a hard time, man. She just fought COVID. Come on.
And I won.
Yeah, you're right. Okay.
I got every symptom, but I won.
All right, you know what? I gotta give her that.
But yeah, on social media, you can find me everywhere through Fatty Dragonite, the true gamer name, just Fatty and Dragonite. That through my YouTube, Twitter, FA, and of course, look out for Horns. I hope to post a poster this month as a little teaser. And yeah, look out for that. Thank you.
Do you have any like a Patreon or anywhere that you take subscriptions?
No, I don't have a Patreon. I don't have a Kickstarter or anything like that. I don't.
There's nothing wrong with it.
Of course not.
Perfect.
You know, we all do it on our own terms.
I love it.
Maybe one day though.
Well, we thank you very much for coming on to our show. We are extremely thankful for doing that.
Thank you guys. This was great. Thank you so much.
It's a lot of fun when we can get guests onto our show. It's even more fun when we can get not necessarily well-known guests, but those who are willing to come onto our show because they absolutely think it's going to be fun or because they're willing to. And I always appreciate that, especially when they're excited for it. That makes it even more fun to be excited for that particular recording.
Oh yeah, I really appreciate the invitation, man. I was really happy when you guys sent me that, and I still can't understand how somebody.
Yeah, and I was explaining to Fatty Dragonite that we had actually sent out like 10 invites to other animators within the fandom, and Fatty was the only one besides one other that messaged back, but he was the first one that messaged back and accepted, and the other person declined straight up and just said no. But then no one else gave us the time of day. And it was really like discouraging. But then when I got that first one from Dragonite, I was just like, and it was so positive. I was just like, wow, I love this. I wish all of the people that we reach out to would just be like, yes, I would love to do a show with you, because it's really hard sometimes to get people to respond back. We don't know if people are going to say yes or no. And my method of reaching out to guests is to go knocking on doors and introducing myself. That's how I do things. So I don't like to ride coattails and reach out to friends and ask them, hey, can you do me a favor? I just don't like to do that. I would rather do it the good old fashioned way because I feel like it's more respectable that way.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. Again, like the internet will be the internet, and a podcast is scary. I get that, but I'm very glad that I got to be on here again. Thank you guys so much. I had a great time.
Absolutely. And, we'll have to have you back on once Horns is all done.
Oh yeah, I would love that.
About that.
Hell yeah!
And we can delve into that particular animation.
If it'll be good, that is. I'm going to try everything in my power to make it so. But again, I'm doing something that I love, so that's what
we
it's all
will
about.
Criticize and pick everything about it. Just kidding.
Go for it.
We won't.
Go for it. Put on the critic cap.
Yeah. we'll put a specific review papers, and we'll start checking things off.
Just make a Rotten Tomatoes page for it.
No, you would never do that. Well, folks, if you guys ever have any questions, you guys know how to reach out to us. It's at talktothemuzzle@gmail.com. You can join our Telegram group and you can chat with us all you want to there. And you can find us on Twitter at From the Muzzle, and then you can chat with us on there as well. If you ever have any questions about animations, you can email us, and then we can always forward those off to our guests, and he can more than likely just do what you want with that. And if you want to reply back to those, we can always just send those back to our fans. We always just give that out to you as an option. You don't have to feel obligated to answer those, but we can just propose those to you if our fans do have questions about animations. We've never had a fan ever email us back about guests, but if they ever do, we always just let them know. Mm-hmm. So, dear, do you have anything before we go?
Nope.
No.
Do I ever?
No. Well, other than that, folks, you guys have a great day, and we'll see you guys next time.
Bye.
Bye.